Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the live daily extra. It's Thursday, the 29th of July. Everton have landed back in the UK after their week in Orlando. They finished the week in Orlando with a 1-0 victory over Pumas last night at the Camping World Stadium. Moise Kean scoring the winning goal there to give Everton a positive end to their week in Florida. 2 games, won the Florida Cup on Sunday and followed it up with a victory over Pumas last night. And we're asking today, should Everton keep Moise Kean? Just putting it out there to you guys. We've had our say at times, so let's hear what you've got to say on it. Has he done anything in the 2 games that you've watched that have made you think Everton should definitely keep him and see how he goes this season? Or are you still of the opinion, or if you were of the opinion, of course, that Everton should cash in on him? We obviously, to cash in on, we need a bid, and that has been not forthcoming at the moment. And we do know that Everton were prepared to let him go, and probably still are if the right bid comes in to fund their transfer activity. But it's one of them, isn't it? You know, we need another striker. If he goes, we'll need another striker. So what do we do with him? Like I say, just asking you guys, has he done enough in the games you've witnessed over the last couple of days to earn himself another shot at trying to make it in the Premier League with Everton? Or should we just be trading in the minute we get the opportunity to? Let me know in the comments below. Like I've just said, Everton landed back in the UK a couple of hours ago now. It was a positive trip to Orlando. Some good training in the difficult conditions in terms of the heat and the humidity, which will help them. And I thought it was definitely a good workout. Both games had different plus and minuses in. I thought the new lads did really well in both games, so that was good. And a win is a win. So, it's back to they'll be made up landing here today, won't they? Although some of them actually might. It's a little bit cooler than what they've been training in. But it'll be a get home, get a rest today, and then back into training tomorrow, and then step it back up. Got Manchester United a week on Saturday at Old Trafford, 12:45 kickoff, and then obviously the week later is Southampton at home. So the hard work as we move towards the start of the Premier League season begins now. Lucas Griffith says, hello lads. Ozzy Dillon in the comments says, good day lads, and drop a like on the video, guys, is the instruction from Ozzy Dillon. Cheers, Dylan. Dance 1211 afternoon, everyone. Everton 1978 is afternoon, Baz. Hello, mate. Hope you are good. Dan Boy says if we can get 30 million from him, we could go and go to PSV and get Mathew and Dumfries, and our squad will be much stronger. Get an experienced backup for Dom on loan. Then our summer business is done. Mark D10 says, good day from the Gold Coast. Good day, Mark. Robbo EFC says, sell the money we would get from would be better invested back into the team. Okay. Matt Sumner says, I'd sell Kean if the right offer were to come in. He looks like he wants to be elsewhere, and his sale will help fill a lot of holes. Robert Dudley says, if a bid comes in, sell him, if not use him. Naverton says, I wouldn't keep Kean, just seems to have the temperament to potentially get a lip on at the first sign of trouble. Ozzy Dillon says, would you be happy to break even with Kean? I'd want as much money as we could get for him, because it's all about the reinvestment of that, like people are saying. You sell Moise Kean for 35, 40 million. We paid 25 million, I think it was, for him. But obviously with add-ons, it could have gone up. If we get 35 million for him, then that can be invested back into the side, and you can get, probably for that money coming in, you could get 3 players in. With the way with the way you can amortise contracts nowadays. And that would help us right now. Obviously, we'd have to do something next summer as well, but you've got a year to do that, and who knows where we'll finish, and prize money and European competition and everything else coming in can help offset that. So I think that's probably what the club will do. Ryan Elliott says, sell for me. will only depreciate and won't start for us. Luke Marshall would cash in as soon as possible. He's not built for the Premier League. John O'Brien says, not sure Kean fits the system Rafa wants to play. If we can cash in, then sell and reinvest in a right back and a winger. Strike it in on loan for a fairly low cost, similar style to Dom. Dance1211 says, I prefer to sell, but if we could keep him, then we better use him. He could drop immediately in value if we don't. Robbo says, plain to see, doesn't want to be with us. Colin Barefoot says, sell ideally, has real quality, but still has some trouble finishing, and it means we can strengthen overall the squad. It's worth it. Fair enough, mate, fair enough. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the Footy Show channel as well. We will be doing a video today, a live on that one, about just a roundup of what's really going on away from Everton. So give that a little subscribe if you would like to as well. Lewis Mason says, I say give him a season, but I'm unsure whether he'll play anywhere near how he played at PSG because his head might not be at Everton. Emmy1G says, has your view on Benitez appointment changed since we become the manager? Well, I'd basically made me peace with it when we got him. I knew that he would be methodical because you only had to do a little bit of background research on him. And I knew enough about him to know that he would do that. So the minute he was our manager, I was behind him. And he's impressed me, I'll be honest, in terms of the work rate and the stuff I'm hearing. So that's more where, I wouldn't say my views changed, but that's more where I've been impressed is by remembering what it's like to have a manager that actually wants a coach and actually wants to make people better and just doesn't want everything just given to him. So and we haven't had that for a while, I think. So he's made a decent start, but it's all about doing it in the Premier League. That's where our bread and butter is. So, you know, I think he's done all right. Benitez made a decent start. Ian Morgan says, Kean has to go for me. Looks like he doesn't want to be here. Basic Trigonometry says, don't think Kean is good enough for the Premier League. Hasn't done anything to make me think otherwise. Okay. If Coleman took a pay cut in a new contract, would that affect the leeway for transfers? Yeah, but not by much for Seamus Coleman. It's not like he was on 150 grand a week and he said, oh, I'll have 20. Is it? If there's any kind of pay cut for his contract, it'll be marginal. Dave Wild says a quality striker would have put his goal away at the first attempt. I would sell to fund the right back and Leon Bailey, but definitely not loan him out again. Toothy Orifice says, are we stuck with the same FFP situation in the winter transfer if we don't sell it? Yeah, basically, because it's in the year, isn't it? It's in the reporting and what's cash ready and what isn't, unless something else can come, you know, into the coffers between now and January. Jack Sloan says he's a glorified Joe Linton just because of his time at PSG. Okay. Seamus Van Lush, quality name, says sell Kean, I'm afraid, again, by Daryl DK. Sean says, I think he's a great talent, but he needs a bit of time. Adam says, I think his price will go up if he stays another season. Fair enough. Kevin Gill says, sell, doesn't want to be here. Emmy1G says, thanks, Baz. Jonesy says, any truth in the Barbosa links? Yeah, I've seen a Gabby goal. Everton have been linked with him a few times. We were linked with him heavily under Marco Silva. And I had a look at him. I think Marcel Brands is a fan. Didn't have a great time in Italy, did he? But went back. Good goal scorer. Depends whether Everton can get him on a good enough deal. Colin Barefoot says, what are your thoughts on Nathan Broadhead? Looked like he's trying to showcase himself, but for me, looked like he wanted to impress too much. I think he done all right in the 2 games. I'm not convinced at this moment in time he's Premier League quality. But he done all right. So maybe another loan and then make an assessment on him. But he did okay, definitely. Mark D says, at the end of the season, 17.86 million in player wages have come off the expense, plus the recruitment of $1 million of Bernard. Deals will be done for 2 quality players and right backs. Not if there's no cash. And that's what it comes down to. Brian _ Everton 8 says, saw that title $1 billion%. Everton should keep him. Okay. Charles says, if we keep him and things don't go well for him, he'll strop rather. I don't think he's worth it. Bring in someone like Barbosa who looks hungry and wants to score goals. Jonesy says, Gray looked very good in that second game, mate. Yeah, Gray's looked like real live wire, doesn't he? Delamere Bear says, sell him or keep him, but do not loan him. Brian says, where are we going to finish this year? Top 7. There you go. I'm going confident. I'm making a bold prediction. I feel like Benitez will have us tactically right, and I think we've got enough quality in the final third to affect stuff. So, yeah. Connor Lane says, what time did he go to sleep as? It was I watched the rowing and stuff when I got in. Not that it was worth watching. So I probably went to sleep about 4, mate. And then I was up at 9:30. Connor Lane says, I wouldn't keep him if we could get a good fee. But if the only offer is to loan him, I think we have no choice. Yeah. Steve Kelly, hello Steve, says, all right, Baz, hope you're well. I think Kean doesn't seem a natural finish yet. Bit clumsy at times as well. I think if the club got a decent loan offer, they'd take it to protect the price. As him coming on and off, could see his price drop. I don't know, Steve, to be honest. I don't know, because will it protect his price? Because if he doesn't play, then fair enough. But even if he goes and plays, he's still only got 2 years left, so he's depreciating anyway. So I think the only way Everton might consider loaning him is if it's a guaranteed buy at in the summer next year. But I don't know. They don't want to. That's the first thing. Whether or not that changes towards the end of the window. If PSG said, we'll give you 8 million for him this season to loan him, or 5 million to loan him, and we'll pay 35 million for him next summer, guaranteed, then maybe Everton will think, well, there's 40 million. I don't know. But I know at the moment they want the money. Terry McAllister says, afternoon, Baz. Keeping Kean is a no for me, because we wouldn't even really be keeping him. We'd just be postponing his exit temporarily. He's not going to have a turnaround and decide he wants to stay and be a success at Everton. His heart is elsewhere and we seem happy to sell, so it seems. The only way I want to see Kean at the club on the 1st of September is if there is no other option. Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Corey Hovenden says, I'd like to see Kean and Dom up top together with Richie feeding from the left. Yeah, a few people have said, could we go with the 2 up? I don't know. Where are we? Toothy says, Baz, totally agree with your idea of allowing owners to give sums of money to the club they own. Yeah, to me, it's mad. It's mad because they're getting stopped from putting money into the game, and particularly at the moment with the likes of COVID and all of the financial hit that a lot of clubs have taken. If you've got owners that want to put money into the club but not saddle a club with the debt, there's a difference in saying Everton go and spend 100 million and I'll underwrite it, but you still owe me that 100 million, than Farhad Moshiri or his mate saying, no, I'm giving you £100 million and it's not getting put on the club. You can spend it on players, but it's not directly linked to the club. That's a difference. That's where I think it should be allowed to do it. Because you're still protecting the club, which is all the profit and sustainability regulations are there for. They've been turned into a way of keeping the sly 6 at the top end of the pile. But that isn't why they were brought in. They were brought in to ensure there wasn't another Portsmouth or Leeds United where clubs just spend what they don't have and then don't have the means to pay people back. So that's why those regulations were brought in. And unfortunately, they've been turned into a way to keep, like I said, the Sly Six where they are, because they get more of the pot than anybody. Therefore, it's like when people come in the comments, like yesterday, saying how on earth are Manchester United and not Villa, how on earth United and City and Liverpool or whatever allowed to spend all this money and we can't? Well, quite simply, their sponsorship deals and corporate deals and all of that kind of thing dwarfs what ours does. So they've got more disposable income where we haven't. But we've got a rich owner that wants to give us more disposable income, and the Premier League isn't allowing it. So therefore, for me, the way round it is that they gift their own money, which isn't on the club, and the club can spend it. Because then that money's coming into football, which is then getting sloshed around football, which means other clubs are getting the drip-on effect from that, which means they can spend at other clubs, which means the money's going around the clubs, which is what we want at a time when everyone's cutting back. If you think about it, there hasn't been a huge amount of transfer activity, and the Premier League kicks off in just over a fortnight. It tells you that clubs aren't awash with all kinds of money because of the struggles they've had. So that it seems like a way to do it to me, but the FA and the Premier League don't do things that are fair, do they? So Sean says Damari Gray looks like he might turn out to be an absolute bargain. Totally agree. Cam's in the comments, can only sell him if we get an acceptable bid. If we don't, he stays. Nathan says Moise Kean definitely is a talented footballer and has the potential to be a top player. However, his attitude and work rate appear to be questionable. Big Nozza says Kean got to go, not good enough, simple as. Very impressed with Gray, Gabamon and Gordon though. And spot on Baz, nice to see a manager who wants a coach. Yeah. Luke says Gray should play over Townsend, he is boss. Townsend's been sound as well. Derek says, thought question, lad has bags of skill. Watched him warm up in Florida and was blown away, but not sure if he wants to be here, so I'm probably selling. Okay. Ossie Dillon says, what are your thoughts on Joe Anderson? He has the size and the power with pace at left back to be a future backup to Dean. Did really well in the US. He's a centre back though, isn't he? I think by trade. So I don't know. I don't know, mate, to be honest. I always think, well, not I don't always think, but I have been thinking lately that Lewis Gibson might be an option as a backup for Luca Dean. Left-footed, good size, decent turn of pace, nice on the ball. Because I just don't think he's brilliant in the air to be a centre-back. And I just wonder with Thierry Small's situation, obviously he's going to leave the club. Niles and Kunku, he wants to go out on loan, I think. Then it could be an opportunity for Lewis Gibson. But Joe Anderson, who knows? Rafa might like him. Who knows? Regan says, hi mate, me and a couple of mates are going to the United pre-season game. Do you know if there's any info on COVID passports or anything like that? Had you heard anything about a COVID passport for the friendly? No, I've not heard, mate. I imagine if they're already sold the tickets, which they have, and that requirement hasn't been in place yet, then they're not going to ask for it for that game. So I think you'd be sound for that game, mate. Brian _ Everton 08 says if PSG want him and if they think Dean for 90 million, and if they want him and if they want Dean, 90 million for him and 50 million for Kean. Where's Dean? Come for 90 million. It's been linked. Look at Dean. I don't know. True Colours says we need to keep him as he's a different option up front. Secondly, he hasn't really had a run of games to give him the confidence he needs, as I believe he is a talent. He's definitely a talent. It's whether we can get enough out of him. I don't know. Wormy Spoon says, don't know what that guy's on about. Keane was good last night. Maybe that's from before. Yeah, I thought he was fine last night, yeah. Tazul says, apparently PSV won 12.8 million for Dumfries. Surely Everton can't miss out on that price. Don't know. Again, it's how the deal's broken down. That's all. Mark D10 says, Baz, I don't believe Brands and Ryan will not have the funds available for Rafa. Problem is, Minu Raiola is involved. Yeah, I know what Raiola's like. And I said this to people the other week when they were saying it's done or not. Just nonsense. It's never been that close to being done, apart from the week before the Euros. But Raiola's in charge, and where Raiola's in charge, trouble normally follows. In terms of funds available for Rafa, it's not about having funds available. It's about whether or not they're allowed to spend the money. That's all it comes down to. So if Everton are taking the time, you've got to ask yourself this question, right? Do you honestly believe that Rafael Benitez doesn't want his squad completed now? As in, he won't be saying to Everton, to Brands, whatever, I want a striker, a right back, another winger. And he'd want them in now, wouldn't he? So we can be doing the work with them. So Everton aren't close to any of them three at the moment, in them positions, right now as we're doing this live. So there's an issue there, isn't there, in terms of money and what's available. And I agree with you in terms of Raiola. There'll be poker being played. There's no question about it with Dumfries. And the other thing is, Everton will have a price in their mind for all of these players that they think the players are worth. And we've seen before with Brands, very rarely now will he go above what he thinks the player's worth. We walked away from Gabriel, who went to Arsenal for the sake of 2 million last year, and went and got Ben Godfrey. So Everton will have a value in their mind for these players, and if these players exceed that value, they won't get them. So we'll just have to wait and see. It goes on till the 1st of September, doesn't it? FIFA Daily says, do you think we should sign Lingard? No. We've done brilliantly at West Ham, don't get me wrong, but no, not for me. He's a good player though, but just think he's 28, it'd be big wages. Where would he play? Is he really a difference maker in wide areas? I think if you got him, you'd have to play him in the number 10. Is he? I think there's other options and cheaper options, but he is a very good player, Jesse Lingard. Jonesy says the third kit is absolutely banging. Yeah, definitely. LCC MD7 says, like to see Kean and Dom in a 4-4-2. I just don't think I don't know whether Benitez will play 4-4-2 though. I think his preferred formation's 4-2-3-1, to be honest. But let's see. Let's see what happens. John Jones says, Everton have gone from zero to heroes with everything about the Florida Cup coverage. Very slick. Also the promise of Bramley Murdoch future coverage. He says, I have 3 questions. 1, were you on Everton's book? Yes. Was Ped? No. Is Ned? No. I think that was what you were asking. Ned's a cracking player, I think. Ped said, one of the top players. I've not seen Ned play. I think that's what Ped said anyway. We'll get him to clarify it on Live at 5. Mathew Ash says the fella is talented, but he doesn't look like he's up for the fight. That alone doesn't help anyone. Tom says, I'd be doing everything I could to get rid. Not good enough for the Prem, in my opinion, especially if we could reinvest it in 2 to 3 players. Yeah, absolutely. John Jones says, it's proven that Iwobi and Gomez won't cut it, and Gray has huge potential, along with Gordon and Broadhead. Yeah, I think Gray has huge potential. I think Gordon has got potential. Broadhead, I'm still not convinced about. I think he's a nice little footballer. I just look at him at the age of 23, and I see Leon Bailey, who's 23, and I think, I know which one I'd rather have. But what I would say is Nathan Broadhead has done well in the 2 games in Florida. So maybe a loan. He just signed a 2-year deal. Maybe a year's loan. And then have a proper look at him on loan. And if he does really well, then, maybe you look at him next summer and go, right, has he got a place for, could he come and do something for us? Josh Kellett says, hi, Baz, hope you're well. I'm really falling in love with Rafa. With every interview, feels like his passion for the club is there. Reminds me of Martinez, but with a football brain. I think the thing about him is he gives everything to the job. So he'll put every ounce he's got into making Everton successful. And that's all you can ask, isn't it? It's impressive what he's done so far, but it's going to come down to results like with every manager. But he's an experienced manager. He's a very tactically astute manager. And he's a hard-working manager, so he's got a lot going for him. It's up now to Everton to back him, and it's up to the players to buy into everything he does. And if they do that and they work hard, then who knows what they can achieve. John Jones says the only concern for me about Dumfries and Bailey is that they're not Premier League proven. We have tripped up on that before with Klassen, Vlasic, Sandro, etc. Yeah, there is that. There definitely is that question mark. I think there always is. There always is. In terms of when players haven't played in this country, there's always going to be a question mark. There's a gamble over every single player. But Rob Lewandowski on the Super Chat says, hi, do you enjoy Super Chats? Keep keen, thank you. Yes, Rob, why not? Why not? I enjoy you sign up for Patreon more, but I do enjoy Super Chats. Thank you very much, mate, for that. Mark G says, I see all the body language experts are here to tell us what they know about Kean. Yeah, okay. Jack Ladd rather says, even the media has spotted Moise Kean looks happy. Okay. Tazul says Bailey apparently in talks with Villa, but others are after him and he's keeping his options open. Well, I read something this morning that it's gone quiet. He's gone on holiday for 2 weeks and it's all gone a bit quiet. So, I don't know. Anthony Chow says, where's Jarrett Branthwaite at? Really hope he will continue to develop. He's rehabilitating. He's been a Finch Farm, hasn't he? Rehabilitating. So, hopefully he'll be back training with them all, because I think he looks like he's got a big future in the game, definitely, from what we've seen of him so far. Jonesy says, Baz, would you be happy with Gabam and Allen and Hammers in the midfield with Allen as a box-to-box? No, I think the Corey would have to be in there. I don't think you can take the Corey out of that midfield. I mean, the good thing is if you're playing 4-2-3-1, so you've got two players in a double pivot behind the front three, then Hammers could play ahead of them. You'd need, obviously, Richarlison one side, and then maybe Damari Gray, Andros Townsend, or another Leon Bailey type. Then Hammers can play in that 10. If you're going to play a 4-3-3, then your three would have to be Gabam and Decore and Allen, because you've got to have three lads who are going to work hard for you. But if you do play the 4-2-3-1, then yeah, you've got a choice out of those three, which are going to be your best two. Allen, Decore, Gabam and Allen. So you've got to have options, it's good. Ayup says, no, sell and get Dumfries and Diaby. Yeah. Wormy Spoon says, sacking Gabriel off and getting Godfrey was far better. It was. Definitely was. Family Life says, Kean certainly is a talent and I'd like him to be given a chance for at least the first half of the season, then sell in January if there's no change or improvement. I don't know why. I don't think they'd do that though, mate, to be fair. Tim says, Baz, any ideas why no Ellis Sims in Florida? Because he's rehabilitating as well. He had an injury, got injured for the playoff final in training the day before the playoff final for Blackpool, so he's only working his way back to full fitness now. Otherwise, he'd have been out there and he'd have had to go as well over there, definitely. Jack Ladd says, Kean dropping deep last night as well, carrying the ball. If that bicycle kicked it in at the lad's hand, you'd all be raving about him. Would he? I don't know. Fruin says, if Bailey goes to the Villa, will Diaby be the next kid you bang on about for 2 years? No, I think I'm going to withdraw from banging on about them, because Everton just keep letting me down by, with buying slow players and stuff. So it's just one of them, isn't it? Human says Allen is a skilled hatchet man. I think we should start Decore and Gabaman. Mark G said I'd really like it if they took a look at Anthony as a plan B to Bailey. Yeah, Anthony at Ajax, Brazilian kid. Fruin says, would you rather have Kean or Lau? Probably Lau, to be honest with you, just because he can play wide as well as through the middle. I do think there's definitely a player in Moise Kean without a shadow, but you know, see what happens. Steve P says, I love James, but there's no way he's going to be able to get away with not running or tracking back like he did last season. Benitez teams require everyone to work hard on and off the ball. Definitely. IOP says, keep up the vids. Baz, boss, their boss. Cheers, mate. Jonesy says, when does Dom and Yerry get back to training? Should be this week. Yeah, well, Everton are back today. Everton have arrived back in the country this morning. So there'll be a day off, I guess, tomorrow, maybe. Or light training tomorrow and then back at it on Saturday. And then Dom, you'd expect Dom and Yerry to be either Saturday or Monday of next week. And Jordan Pickford as well. Mark D said, Baz, I didn't see Big Dunk in Florida. Did he stay back home? Yeah, he stayed here, mate. Luke says, you ever bought a leather jacket, Barry? I did buy a leather jacket years and years and years and years ago when I was about 18 or something. But not since. Let me just refresh Patreon one more time and then we are done for the day. I mean, not for the day as in that's it, we're doing it, but we've got other videos to do. Adam says, all right, Baz, I've heard from a few people that they are probably breaking it over FFP and we're already over the limit, which would seem to tally with what we're looking at from the outside. Surely if we've already breached it and our squad is in such an awful state, the club may as well bring in some targets without going mad, as we'd be fined points deducted anyway. We won't get points deducted for breaking FFP. Might get a fine or something, but not happening. But yeah, there's obviously a concern. Everton are already over it. There is a concern. You can't keep losing money every year, but there's an argument over COVID to be had, isn't it? So, but the money isn't free flowing, and people are not happy because that money isn't free flowing. But you only have to look at what's gone on over the last few years to know whether or not, or to understand rather why we are struggling to spend the money. So yeah, we'll see. Right, that is us done. Hit the like button before you go. Be much appreciated. And Ped will be back with this tomorrow. So take it easy. If you are a patron, we will see you at 5 o'clock tonight for a hour-long patron chat. Right, yeah, take it easy. Thanks very much. Don't forget, give the Footy Show channel a little subscribe. The link is in the description. Thanks for joining me. Take it easy. See you later.